Korea versus Japan. It's gonna be two different styles that are highly aesthetic.
한국 남자 유도의 간판 이하림 선수가 도쿄올림픽 금메달리스트 일본의 다카오 나오히사를 꺾고 얼마 전 세계선수권대회 동메달을 목에 걸었다는 소식 들으셨나요? 이 소식에 일본 전역이 깜짝 놀랐습니다. 그도 그럴 것이 다카토 선수는 2013, 2017, 2018, 2022 세계선수권대회와 도쿄올림픽 금메달을 차지한 이 체급 최강자로 손꼽히기 때문이죠. 반대로 이하림 선수는 시니어 세계선수권 대회에서 메달을 처음 획득했는데요. 경기를 지켜본 사람들은 한국인들의 불굴의 의지는 이길 수가 없다며 혀를 내둘렀다고 합니다. 그도 그럴 것이 이하림 선수는 8강전에서 벨기에 선수에게 패해 아쉽게 패자 부활전으로 밀린 상황에서 동메달 결정전에 진출한 상황이었는데요. 심리적, 체력적으로 압박이 대단했을 텐데도 올림픽 금메달 리스트를 꺾는데 성공했기 때문이죠. 이처럼 남다른 정신력을 자랑하는 한국 유도 선수들은 최근 올림픽은 물론이고 국제대회에서 좋은 성적을 이어가고 있는데요. 오늘은 한국과 일본 유도 선수들의 스타일은 달라도 너무 다르다며 분석한 유도 전문가 영상이 있어 가져와 봤습니다. 대체 뭐가 다른지 함께 보시죠.
Highly beautiful and technical, and it's gonna be very different, but at the same time they have their similarities. To the untrained eye, a lot of the gripping might look very similar, but we're gonna dive deep. They're both different. One is a very quiet beast that will give the impression of passivity, while the other will just keep you on the move, exhaust you mentally and physically, and once you cannot take it, that's well, they'll go in for the kill. So it's gonna be a very different episode. Specifically the grip fighting sequence, it's gonna be the longest because there's just so much detail to unpack. There's just so much tactics to unpack, particularly on the Korean side, back from the old school. That's one very clear aspect of the Japanese gripping. Here you have the other choice, which is the underarm and the lapel. Here you see Kosei Inoue doing Uchimata Uchigari with his grip. This is for the same stance opponent. So they stand still, very like they say like their arms are fish hooks. They don't tend to use them. They're just like a connection. But once they have that opening, they are just sitting there and waiting. But when they have both their hands on you, it's go time. There's no need for big movements. It's just static, but also very much waiting, and once the time is right, it's explosive entry, and that's it. So for the Korean, here you see it's one of Jian's old tactics. Here the grip fighting, he has stuff that are now considered illegal, like breaking with both arms, one grip. Here you see pushing and constantly moving and pushing it against his stomach. That will make his opponent look passive, but now it's gonna make both of them look passive, and it's gonna be a Shido for both. So it's kind of like a dirty tactic if you want, but here constantly on the move, constantly flailing the lapel. But here, especially this, like pressing the arm on the stomach, modern one, and that is the signature of the Koreans, and that is like the constant pushing, pulling, kind of like throwing your fishing hook into the water with the lapel. That will keep your opponent really guessing, don't have his solid grips, and you're gonna keep them on the move. You can't be static and just attack. So here you see the difference between the Japanese and the Korean. Here you see Jen really keeping it highly on the move, is that sometimes they might grip the lapel very low, like almost on the lower part of the pec, which will really give them a lot of and the French going to the neck and all the way down to the back, but they go the opposite way. They mirror the back, but on the pec lowered, but will really give them a solid grip and really flailing it and really destabilizing someone with the movement you saw Jen doing. So here you see, after a lot of movement, he broke completely the posture and the mentality of his opponent, and finally struck with Tomoe. The other thing about Korean I find it interesting is the kake part of the throw. Like, the hand gestures in particular, is that they were both just static and then done boom, it's finished. Very different than Korean, which is constantly flailing your lapel, pushing and pulling your sleeve, moving around. They just need that false static motion in order to like really strike here. Great example. Once again, a lot of strength is needed as well. Koreans use it for explosive going down to the ground, so it's a different employment of strength basically. So here you see the other one is obviously Uchimata. Great choice of throws. Tsukasa, Yoshida, Kosei Inoue show constantly on the move, constantly, you know, playing poker with your hands, basically. Here also the reverse, I'm gonna talk about it in a little bit. So here it's the explosiveness needed with both arms needed to be connected, and on the move it's gonna, when they're constantly on the move, it's gonna make this explosive power going down and really shooting for Seoinage far easier, which really complements their gripping in my opinion. So here you see it moving and bam, it's finished. It's aesthetic, it's very much explosive and technically elite. They're very famous for it for this particular reason, and the gripping plays a huge role. His gripping is very big in Korean judo. He doesn't reap with the leg, that's what makes it so special. You see it here, he just blocks it. Even he doesn't even cup his leg, he just puts the heel and lifts his toes up. He doesn't even cup like your traditional kochigari, which is very special and unique to them, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. I like watching this all day. I've tried to imitate it myself in randori. So here you see circles around, but the hands are doing most of the work. The leg is just there to block. So Atsuko Chigari is really something. And finally, of course, is the Korean reverse Seoinage, which is invented by the legendary Choi Min Ho. Fall directly into that ippon. It's a great invention in modern judo history, and from Korea, of course. So here they were already very famous for their Seoinage, and now here adding their own variation. It is just absolutely commendable, and it is a highly successful throw, because it's just, I mean, there is an easy, they're most likely they're gonna lose, and that's basically the foundation of judo. Here you see multiple Koreans do this, Anshan Grim, and
한국 유도의 전설 최민호 선수의 이름이 중간에 나와 참 반가웠는데요. 두 나라의 기술을 비교 분석한 영상 재밌게 보셨나요? 앞으로도 더욱 재밌는 영상으로 찾아뵙겠습니다. 항상 함께 해주시는 시청자 여러분 감사드려요.